Welcome in. We've got Bubba Carpenter here with us. Razorbacks win on a walk-off home run yesterday against Ole Miss in Game 3. Chris Burke, who was on the call for SEC Network, is with us too. Uh, Razorbacks win the series 2-1. Chris, just you've been to a lot of games here in Fayetteville. You called a lot of Razorback games. I wonder, not necessarily where you would rank that one, but how was that experience yesterday?
I just was blown away by the quality of play. I mean, you say, well, no kidding, it's Ole Miss in Arkansas, but sometimes those Sunday games can get, you know, a little ugly and disjointed. But heck, you got two guys that might pitch in the big leagues on the mound. I know Gackle hasn't been awesome this year, but the talent is undeniable. And really, and Bubba, I don't know, Matt, if you were actually in the building, but the 3-run homer he gave up, first of all, there was a runner on base because of an error. And second of all, it was essentially just a routine fly ball to left, and the wind took it out of there. And so really, Gabe Gackle was fantastic yesterday. Got you through the lineup twice and pinched plenty well enough to help you win the ball game. And then, of course, Taylor Rabe is, wow. I mean, is that kid talented or what? And so it was really almost like a commercial for the talent of SEC baseball, because here it is on a Sunday, and you got Rabe's up to 98, Gackle's up to 95. And you're like, what are we watching here on a Sunday? But great baseball game, and pretty unbelievable that Christian Turner ends it with a walk-off homer after being asked to bunt to start as a bat. And what a big boy ball to cut through that wind to center field. Kahil Loy stayed hot and hit a ball into a food truck, and so that was pretty cool. And so it was just a beautiful scene at Baum, and incredible Sunday afternoon in the SEC.
I'm almost offended, Chris, asking if I was in the building. Bubba, am I ever not in the building?
Oh, he's always in the building.
Hey, Chris, usually I'm the one shutting things down. It's usually me and the janitors left at the end. Like they asked me to turn out the lights in the press box. That was a great game. A lot of fun being there. I want to ask you, and I want to get Bubba's perspective on this too. As a hitter, when you are able to, like Christian Turner was able to do, sit in the or stand in the on-deck circle and see Nolan Souza before him work that at bat and foul off 5 pitches from the left side. And not only for him to do that, but this is the first at bat that Turner's had the entire game. He hadn't swung a bat since batting practice, probably 3.5, 4 hours before that moment. How much do you think that helps him there in that moment?
I don't know. Hitting's so silly, guys. How does anybody figure it out, right? I'm sure Dave Van Horn feels the same way. Like, my guess is Nate Thompson's been working on the same things every day with these guys. Yeah, I'm not saying they don't make tweaks and adjustments, but it comes and it goes, and guy comes off the bench and hits a 2-run homer, and then you start him the next day and he goes 0 for 4, 3 strikeouts. Like, who can figure it out? You know what I mean? And I'm just being hypothetical, right? But it's just like the reality is, Souza put together a fantastic at bat. It did look like, Bub, I don't know what your thoughts were, but it did look like Hooks' stuff was lighter that inning than the inning before. And of course, he had thrown the day before, and he couldn't put Souza away. And the inning before, the breaking ball had looked so good, and he could not put Souza away. Souza hung in there and got a awesome 2-strike hit, and then he couldn't put Turner away. And so I said it live, like, it just doesn't look like the stuff is that sharp, because he just couldn't induce the swing and a miss. And next thing you know, he throws a cement mixer up there, and that was a loud swing of the bat by Christian Turner to get that ball cut the wind to straightaway center field. Very impressive swing of the bat.
Yeah, I thought it was big that they were able to get Hooks in the game the day before, and a kind of a blowout game. He only threw 23 pitches, but I said to Phil, every pitch he throws today is one less he's got in the tank tomorrow. And I think you could show he wasn't as sharp in yesterday's game. But, boy, I tell you what, Berkey, when I was watching, first of all, Souza's bat was phenomenal. But you get a freshman up there, and he fouls one down the line, and we're thinking off the bat it might blow over the fence. Ends up going foul. And then when he fouled that fastball straight back, and you could see him kind of nodding his head, I told Phil in the booth, I said, he's got him. He's got him. He's confident right now. He's got nothing to get him out with. you can kind of eliminate the fastball because he had fouled it straight back, was right on it. And then he fouled a changeup off his foot, walked around the batter's box, and then that's when the crowd got into it. And once that crowd got into it, you could see Christian Turner's neck just kind of bow up a little bit, and you just knew something big was getting ready to happen. And it was just, man, it was a phenomenal moment. But I'm sure you've been in the box before, and when you foul off a couple pitches like that, you start to feel really good, don't you?
Yeah, I think, back to Hooks. I think his stuff was every bit as good as it's ever been in that first inning. But you get that shot of adrenaline, bases loaded, the whole deal. And then you go sit in the dugout, and you come back out for the second day in a row, and the stuff just loses its bite, which is just kind of one of the profound mysteries of our sport. But yeah, I do. I think the crowd rose to the moment, and that has to give Turner a shot of adrenaline. Love when these great SEC crowds insert themselves into the game, and you could feel Baum-Walker, the electricity in the place start to rise. And, Christian Turner answered the moment with a swing he'll never forget. Always cool when you can leave the yard
and know that, man, the players involved just had a moment they'll never forget, because that's, those are the moments that make this job so fun.
Chris Burke joining us from SEC Network. He also does a podcast with Mike Rooney on D1 baseball. Chris, I know that you pay attention to the SEC very closely. You think about Arkansas, their first 4 weeks, they went 5-7 in conference play. Now they're at 13-11. They've gone 8-4 over their last 4 weekends, and there have been some pretty good opponents they played in there. What have you seen from Arkansas over the last month? Because it seems to me like they're playing better, but I wonder from your perspective, what have you seen change?
I don't know. I think it's again, we talked about this in week 1, and it was pretty cool to come back and see them in week 8. Like, the reality is the offense has always been better than it's played. And, I asked Dave yesterday on the air, like, what does this team need to do to make a run in the postseason? He's like, we just got to have better at bats, 1 through 9. We got to have better at bats. And I mean, this is the lineup that spent most of conference play with Kahil Aloy hitting like 7th, 6th, 7th, sometimes not playing. Yesterday, Zach Stewart batted last. Like that's not the way that lineup was constructed, right? And so to see both of those guys have a big impact, and Kahil especially, and to know how good Helfrich's been. And I know Kojal's taken some lumps in SEC play, but he's also had some big hits. Pompey's obviously capable. Sousa's been pretty consistent. Like, I just feel like that offense has more in it. And, nobody really cares that the offense has been just okay for most of the year. If you catch a heater for 2 weeks in June, you're in Omaha. Yep. That's it, right? And if Gabe Gackle can pitch to his ceiling, then there's still enough there. You've got a real ace in Dietz, and Gibbler's been good, and Coyle's good, and McIlvain's good. Like you've got there's the pieces are there to still get to Omaha, but I think the offense playing to its ceiling is going to be what makes or breaks this club.
You know what, Berkey, when I watch this team play, I look up and down the lineup, and I'm like, Reese stud, Helfrich stud, Koschel stud, and on down the line, Pompey. Like you said, you got Zach Stewart in the 9-hole yesterday. And I just see so much potential, and I kind of compare it to that 22 Ole Miss team that kind of floundered throughout SEC play. They came to Fayetteville, and I'm like, how are these guys not winning? Because, you got Elko, and you got the whole team. They were veteran guys. This team reminds me of that team where I could see us really taking off once this lineup starts to click. I think Aloy getting hot is really big for us. By the way, that ball he hit yesterday, oh, my gosh, I think he got cheated on that. I think it went way farther than they said it went, but that was an absolute bomb. But once this lineup starts clicking, I could see us being like that 22 Ole Miss team. They were the last team in, and ended up winning it all. I mean, I don't know your thoughts on that, but what do you think?
Well, maybe it will be the team that nobody expects to be the team that gets DVH over the hump. Who knows? But it's certainly not out of the question that this team gets to Omaha. I think that Ole Miss team was riddled by injuries most of the year, and they got healthy. And they also had a freshman in Hunter Elliott and a junior college pitcher that nobody really knew his name at this point in that season, and Dylan DeLucia, that ended up literally being unhittable for a month. So, you never say never. I think this year's offense has given us too much of a track record to think they have that kind of a ceiling. Because it's not like they've been hurt. It's the same pieces. It's just they haven't played great. Now, I do think they can certainly play better than they've played. But so to think they could win the whole thing, that would shock me. Do I think this team has enough to get to Omaha? Yeah. It's 5 wins, guys. It's 5 wins. Nobody knows it better than y'all. Y'all have been plenty in the last 20 years, almost half the time in the last 20 years. But this team is certainly capable. And heck, they're still not out of the mix to host. Now they're going to have to probably go 4-2 here down the stretch, but it's still in play.
Chris, before we get you out of here, I want to ask you about Oklahoma real quick. They come in this weekend. They're 30-16 overall. They're 12-12 in conference play. What do we need to know about the Sooners?
Well, Cam Johnson left the mound after an inning on Saturday, which isn't a good sign. When their pitching's right, they can really throw some elite stuff at you. That stuff has been very up and down this year as far as performance is concerned. The offense is pesky. They do a lot of inside things. That doesn't mean they can't hit the ball at the ballpark, but it's a very well-rounded. They like to run. They like to bunt. They've got some real athleticism, Johnson and Willits and Brock. Like, they got some guys that can really move. So I think it'll be a fun brand of ball. I think it sets up to be a very competitive series. And, Oklahoma is like a lot of teams in the SEC that are right there, at just a touch under, just a touch above 500, that grouping of teams that, our sport is so crazy because the math is still in play. For if somebody goes 5-1, they could host. If somebody goes 1-5, they could be sweating it out on Selection Monday. So there's still so many things in play, and Oklahoma's a perfect example of that kind of team. If they've got Arkansas and Tennessee to finish. If they go 4-2, they're probably going to host. If they go 2-4, they're going to be a 2 seed. So it's what makes this sport so great, so fun, so entertaining. Is because you don't have to make up storylines, and you don't have to make up reasons to watch. Every game truly is super important. And that game yesterday was super important. We started the broadcast talking about it. It was a classic game. And Arkansas, if they don't come up, if Christian Turner hits into a double play right there and they lose that game, you pretty much could say they're not going to host. Now, it's still alive. It's still alive. So that's what makes it so great.
Yeah, it makes it fun when teams have hope. Chris, we appreciate your time. Great call yesterday with Tom Hart, and we'll see you down in Hoover in a couple of weeks.
Okay, great catching up, guys. Take care.
Appreciate it. Chris Burke of ESPN and the SEC Network, also with Mike Rooney on D1 Baseball, their podcast there. I want to tell you that today's baseball podcast is brought to you by H&R Tire. They're a third-generation family-owned business serving Northwest Arkansas since 1976. Just like great baseball programs, H&R is built on consistency, trust, and doing things the right way. No shortcuts and no gimmicks at H&R Tire and Auto. Also want to tell you we're brought to you by Eggland's Best. When it comes to your game day, you want the best in your lineup. That includes your eggs. Eggland's Best delivers more of the nutrition you need with 6 times more vitamin D and 25% less saturated fat than ordinary eggs. You can score now with Eggland's Best. Better taste, better nutrition, better eggs. Visit egglandsbest.com for more information. Brought to you as well by Southern Loft. They believe that your home should reflect your unique personality. That's why they offer a wide variety of stylish furniture pieces that are perfect for any taste. Whether you're looking for a new sofa for the living room, a sleek dining table for your kitchen, they've got just what you need. When you're looking for that piece of furniture that reflects you, visit Southern Loft at 3155 North College Avenue in Fayetteville or call 479-856-6100. Appreciate you being with us wherever you are today. Maybe you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. You can find us by searching Whole Hog Sports. I think we're live today on our Twitter page. Wave Bubba to the camera. We on Twitter at Whole Hog Sports, Facebook at Whole Hog Sports. We put all of our video podcasts on YouTube on our Whole Hog Sports YouTube channel. We can take our headphones off here now that we don't have Chris Burke on the line with us anymore. Just how do you put into words what that win meant to Arkansas yesterday? Because it really felt for a little bit like when they had the bases loaded in the 7th inning and they couldn't score, and then Ole Miss comes back and Judd Udemark hits a home run to lead off the 8th, a bomb to center field, 416 feet against Ethan McIlvain. It felt at that point like, oh boy, this is going to be another one of those where Arkansas is close in a series at Baum and they're going to have their heart ripped out. And, we saw it happen, earlier this year with Georgia. Obviously, it was a little bit different game in Game 3. But, they haven't had a lot of success at home in SEC play this year other than Mississippi State before yesterday. Something, I don't know, this one felt really big. It did not feel like your run-of-the-mill series-winning game. It kind of felt like something clicked for them at the end yesterday. We'll see if it's kind of a spark that ignites something here down the stretch. But in the moment, that's what it really felt like to me. I wonder what it felt from your perspective.
Well, it was disappointing, the bases loaded thing. But Phil and I had talked about it throughout the broadcast. We just felt like, something big always happens when we play Ole Miss at home.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
or in general.
Yeah, and we just felt like, I don't know, me personally, I'm sitting there thinking something's going to happen. And when Souza got on base, I'm like, yes, that's it. I don't know, it just felt like we needed a break, and we didn't really get that break throughout the game. I felt like Gackle threw really well. The home run he gave up was what was it, 90? It was 94 miles an hour, I believe.
323 feet into the visitor bullpen.
Yeah, I mean it was
total wind
97 miles an hour, 45-degree launch angle.
Mm-hmm.
Any other day, it's
That's
not
a
a
fly
home
ball.
run. Yeah, I mean it's routine. So I just felt like things hadn't gone our way, but there was something about the energy when Souza got on base. That was a really good at bat, and I still think I credit our team for battling on Saturday. We battled back enough to where Mike Bianco felt like he had to bring hooks in the game.
Yeah.
I think had he not brought hooks back in, it might have been different. You think about the two guys that he struck out with the bases loaded. Struck out Camden, and he struck out Mike Anu. Those were the two guys that didn't see him the day before. Everyone else in the lineup had seen him. They didn't see him the day before. I think that a guy like that, once you see him once, you got him because – you kind of know he's not going to blow you away with his fastball. He's got a good slider. He's got a really good changeup that he throws to righties, sliders more to lefties. But I think once you see a guy like that, you feel really good about it. And I don't know. I think the crowd gets they should get a star for kind of pumping up Christian Turner right there, because I think that at bat. But he really did when he fouled that pitch back. I just knew you could just see him puff up a little bit. Crowd started getting behind him, and I'm like, he's got something good's getting ready to happen.
There's often a criticism of the crowd at Baum that they don't get loud until something happens. Like you watch a game at LSU, they get loud and they make something happen.
Yeah.
And I would say this for anybody who goes to the game at Baum, like if you want to influence. You see it at A&M too, by the way. A&M does a great job of getting loud and influencing the play on the field. Like if you want to influence the play on the field, get loud. It doesn't mean it's going to happen every time, obviously, but I feel like that had a huge influence on how that at bat went when they got up. I mean, Hooks is sitting there; he's on the hot seat, man. And now all of a sudden, you've got what's left of 9,800 people there. I guess there were probably still about 7,000 people in the ballpark. And they're on top of you, and you got this kid at the plate who's not giving up. I don't know. I felt like that really influenced that last pitch or two.
Yeah, I do too. I think, and I think Christian could hear it. He could feel it. When a hitter, he found that fastball back. I hate to keep going back to that. And he had a little head nod, and then he fought off the changeup, which was Hooks' best pitch. Threw him a really good changeup down in and fouled it off his foot. And you could just see Christian nod. When a hitter starts nodding like that, he's feeling really good. And I just feel like the crowd and everything. Hooks had already thrown 38 pitches up to that point. I think it was the 39th pitch that he hit out. And I go back to the day before where he threw 23. I think it was 23 the day before. That's huge right there. But it goes back to the team. I still credit part of yesterday to what happened on Saturday. The team didn't give up. They kept battling. They scratched enough, got in a couple of runs, made Bianco feel a little bit nervous about it, enough to bring Hooks in. And we talked about on Saturday, this is huge. Let's make him throw as many pitches as we can on Saturday. We may not win the game, but let's make him throw as many pitches as we can. And I think it showed, and it was fun. I mean, it was such the environment was unbelievable. When that ball went off the bat, I mean, I thought it was gone instantly. I just thought, well, it's pretty high. I don't know if that wind's going to knock it down or not.
Yeah, he crushed it though.
Yeah.
I don't think the wind had a chance. It went over the turtle out there in right center field. I mean it, and you think about if the wind wasn't blowing in, how far that thing might have gone. It was crushed off the bat. I always talk about with baseball, there is the game, and then there is the game within the game. And it's almost like in baseball, I don't know if this makes any sense, but it makes sense in my head, so I'm going to say it. It's like you're playing checkers and chess at the same time on a weekend. Checkers is the game you're playing right now, the 9 innings today, but you're also playing this bigger game that, again, the decisions you make on Friday, the decisions you make on Saturday, they can have an influence on the end of the series. And I thought the same thing that you did. The fact that they were able to get Walker Hooks in the game on Saturday, when I saw him come in, I said, whoa, this is big.
Yeah.
Because I knew they weren't, I felt Arkansas was not going to win the game that day. They were down too much. Ole Miss was playing too well. But I knew what kind of effect that might have, or I thought I knew what kind of effect that might have on game 2 or game 3. He came out on Sunday, and he's pitching really well. I'm like, well, maybe I was wrong about this. And I actually started looking, and this is the 3rd week in a row where he's pitched on back-to-back days. He hadn't done it before they played Tennessee a couple of weeks ago. And typically he's better, statistically, on the 2nd day than he is on the 1st. And I thought, well, maybe this is a trend with him, and this is going to continue today. But you go back to game 2, Arkansas gets him in the game, and I thought that Arkansas, and Ole Miss has got a veteran coaching staff too. But I thought you could really see that, that veteran nature of Arkansas's coaching staff in game 2, that they didn't panic and pull Cole Gibler out of the game right away. They said, you know what, you're down 5-0. Let's keep pitching this guy. He's still got, after the first inning, I don't know, probably 70 more pitches in the tank. Let him go ahead and just keep pitching and just see how this game plays out. You get back into the game offensively, you probably take him out and you start going to Gabe Gackle and you start going to Parker Coyle and those types. But they let that game play out. They didn't panic when Gibler had a bad first inning, and that saved their pitching staff. I felt like with Hooks pitching on Saturday and Arkansas not throwing Gackle and not throwing Coyle and not throwing McIlvain, it set them up for a lot of success yesterday. And so, again, that's that game within the game that's happening. It sucks when you lose a game. You lose 11-4 on Saturday, but you're playing for the series. That's the biggest thing that you're playing for here. You got a 9-inning game, but you've also kind of got a 27-inning game going on, and they won the bigger game, I think, because of the decisions they made in game 2.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. I mean, when you really think about it, I mean, that's why DVH is the man, and Hobbs, they just do a great job. I felt like the game 2 though with Gibler out there, that first inning was so fluky. I mean, think about it. The first hitter hits a soft line drive, kind of glanced off his back and went to Souza, almost had the out at first. Then the 2-0 hitter, I think it was Becerra, walked on a pitch that I thought was a strike. I thought one of those was definitely a strike. But anyway, he did. And then you get the strikeout, and then the play of the game was the ground ball to third. or ground ball to second, or
The
ground ball
first.
to first.
We'll
Good
get there.
grief.
Yeah, we're just working our way around. Right?
Yeah, we eventually I was going to get it right. No, the ground ball to first, and Rutenberg kind of looked to second. It was a smart move, not going to second base, and then Cole wasn't covering first base, and I think that was huge right there. If he's there, you got 2 outs, then things probably play out a little bit different, and then he ends up hitting. I thought the home run was wind blown. It was hit 106, but it was hit 47 degrees. That's pretty steep for a ball to go out where it left that point of the yard, and that's just felt like it was fluky. Gave up 5 runs, but I thought Gibbler looked good. I thought he had good stuff. I thought he made a lot of really good pitches. I was proud of him for staying. I'm glad they left him out there and let him work through that, because I thought he got better as the game went on. And it's not that he was even bad in the first inning. I think that's 2 weeks in a row, though, where a guy hasn't covered first base.
Yep.
A lefty hasn't covered first base. And it's tough because they're falling off the third base side. As soon as that ball gets hit to the right side, man, you got to bust it over there. But that's 2 weeks in a row. You've seen it. It ends up in a home run. And it costs a mistake.
Yeah, I mean, Gibbler, he probably could have gotten out of that first inning. He wasn't getting out of it clean, I don't feel like, the way the first 2 batters got on. But, maybe a 3-run inning, maybe a 2-run inning. It feels a lot more manageable than being down 5-0.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I guess the thing is even the first pitch line drive that kind of glanced off his back, hit 84 miles an hour, wouldn't hit hard. If that doesn't hit him, it might be an easy play for, I don't know exactly where Souza was playing or Kozel if they had him played up the middle, but either way, that could have easily been a one pitch out to start the game, and then I think that whole inning plays out different. But that's baseball. But I like your analogy right there, checkers, chess. So that's good stuff.
You're going to use that on the broadcast this weekend?
I might do that. I'll give you credit though.
I will be in the building, I promise. I'll be there. Hey, I love this quote from Mike Bianco, by the way, yesterday. This is after, obviously after they lost. He said, quote, "We went with our best guy." Excuse me. He said, "We went with our best guy and his best stuff, an array of pitches to both with 2 strikes, and they just battled." This is the part that I love, though, Bubba. He said, "Sometimes you just have to tip your hat. I mean, they won it. They beat us. It wasn't anything that we didn't do. It was more what they did."
That's true. And, we're talking about Hooks not being as good, after 38 pitches.
He wasn't bad.
I thought he was still good. I just think Souza fouled off some really tough pitches. And, Christian Turner's the hero, no doubt. But without Souza's at bat, I don't think we're talking about a win today. I really don't.
Burke didn't seem to think that it helped Turner a whole lot, seeing those pitches from the on-deck circle. But what do you think?
I don't think it does, really. A lot of people say, well, it helps them to see. It's different when you step in the box. And Christian had never seen him. You can see the pitch. Does it have a little more depth on it? Is it flatter? You can kind of see from the side and get a feel for the angle of the pitch into the zone. But until you step in the box, you really need to see that. And you can look at all the scouting reports in the world. It's always different when you step in the box. But, I just thought he just battled. And I think there's something about, I'll say, I didn't bunt very much in my career. One of the best at-bats of my career was a situation where runners at first and second, I was asked to bunt. I fouled 2 pitches off, and I was like hyper-focused to the point where I was not going to make an out. And it's best at bat of my career, probably. So, yeah, I mean, there's something about it. And I said on the broadcast yesterday, I said, okay, he fouled a bunt off right now. It's 0-2. He took a bad first swing, fouled a bunt off. It was fastball up. And I said, he needs to really lock in right here and be hyper-focused. I said, sometimes that's all it takes.
There you are using hyper-focused again.
Yeah, it's a real thing. I didn't know it.
You love that term now.
I do. I love it. You need to hyper-focus sometimes.
Sometimes I am. I promise. It may not look like I am, but I am. I just thought, for Turner, like he'd never hit a home run in an SEC game. He hadn't had a hit since April 10th.
Yeah.
Man, I mean, just you can't script that any better for him.
I love it. And look, I've been a huge Christian Turner fan since early spring when I saw him go backside a couple of times in scrimmage games. I'm like, I like this kid. He's twitchy. You know, got some bat speed, a little power to left center. Anyone that's young like that, not a big guy, but he's got that backside power. You can predict down the road he's gonna hit some home runs. Plus, he can fly. I like him. I like the way he approaches BP. You know, and he puts his work in. He's not playing, but he still goes out there and takes his fly balls during batting practice. Just does all the little things right. I like that, and I think the game rewards you when you do things right. I think the game of baseball rewards you, and we saw it yesterday.
I don't know if you were thinking about this, and he even mentioned in his press conference, but the first thing that I thought about on that 0-2 pitch that he hooked down the left field line or sliced down the left field line was Florida. Remember when he was it nearly a game-tying home run, I think, against Florida? Maybe it was going to be a game-winning. I don't remember. But I know it was ninth inning. He's up at bat. It looks like he's hit a home run, and the wind just pushes it foul. And kind of a similar situation yesterday. I don't know that was going to be a home run. Had it stayed fair, maybe it scrapes the wall. But you're probably talking about an extra base hit there. Maybe Souza scores from first. But at minimum, you're looking at runners at second and third with nobody out, and you got a pretty good opportunity to push home a run there. Now, would Ole Miss have stayed with Walker Hooks? I don't know. They had Landon Waters up in the bullpen. He pitched really well on Friday night. I was surprised we didn't see him first out of the pen yesterday when they brought Robertson in. Did you hear what Turner said afterward? He said that he was thinking about that Florida at bat, and he said the guy from Florida got me. He said I was telling myself this guy's not going to get. Or I remember exactly how he said it. Ole Miss ain't going to get me, or
Ole
something
Miss
like
isn't
that.
gonna beat me or get me, something like that.
Yeah, I mean, but it was kind of cool how that moment 4 or 5 weeks ago really kind of set up the moment that he had against Ole Miss.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's when he hit that ball, TrackMan showed it at 323 feet, the one he hit foul.
Yesterday?
Yeah, yesterday. So it would have probably hit the fence. So, but
was it 325 down the line and left?
320 down the line, but I think it takes more than that to get it over the fence. It takes like 330 to get it over the fence. I don't know, something like that.
Okay.
So, but yeah, I forget how did Dave describe it? A fearless at bat.
Fearless at bat.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot to that. There's a lot to just like having a tough at bat, a fearless at bat, and you could see it in Christian yesterday. I mean, he was fearless at the plate, and I think a win like that. Just think if we lose that game though. This is a long week. If we lose that game, waiting for OU to come to town
and finals
and
finals.
Yeah. But you win that game, and it's like, wow, we can't wait till Friday night to play OU. I just think it's crazy how one swing can change the, I don't want to say the course of the season, but it could definitely change the course of the season and how we finish.
Well, one thing that could have a big impact on is the SEC tournament and whether or not you play on Wednesday or Thursday. Arkansas still got to win games to assure that it's going to play on Thursday. But Arkansas and Ole Miss were tied yesterday going into the game at 12-11 in the SEC. Arkansas by winning is tied for 6th. Ole Miss by losing is tied for 9th. That's how narrow the margin is. Right now, Arkansas is tied with Alabama and Florida, and then Ole Miss is tied with Oklahoma. So Oklahoma, they could easily change that thing up this weekend. But as of right now, if the season ended today, Arkansas would not have to play until Thursday at Hoover, and to me that feels like a big deal.
Yeah, it does. And not only that, I mean, think about the crowd. So let's say we lose that game. I don't think the crowd's quite as excited with OU coming to town. On Friday night. Now I think everyone's just foaming at the mouth. They can't wait. I think it's going to be a tough ticket to get. I've already gotten some phone calls and texts. So, but yeah, I think just the excitement around the program just all of a sudden just went to a new level, and I think it's going to be fun. And if you look at it's still kind of a log jam in there. A lot of it comes down to who plays who, and I know you've got it right there. I've got it on my phone. Who plays who this weekend? I mean, that's going to have a lot to do with, you got Alabama or Auburn playing Mississippi State, Alabama playing South Carolina. That's probably not going to help us a whole lot. Texas, Tennessee, not a whole lot of help. Kentucky at Florida, could maybe benefit us.
You said Texas is at Tennessee?
Yeah.
Yeah, see, I think Tennessee's they're playing kind of desperate right now.
Yeah.
And it's in Knoxville. That could be a little bit of a trap, I think, for Texas going in there.
Could be, yeah.
You never know, but I could see that potentially being it.
And you got A&M and Ole Miss, and Ole Miss
coming off a tough weekend.
Yeah,
both of them are.
I mean, I think Phil, I forget how Phil described it going in. This is a move weekend, like a separating weekend, I think is how he described it. And you really didn't see the separation like we thought we would see. I mean, a little bit, a couple teams, but
because
you
had Florida and OU, they were tied with Arkansas and Ole Miss, and that ended up being a 2-1 series that Florida won.
Yeah. So we'll see. It's another big weekend, and I think Burke said it. He said it's like every weekend is big. Like you say, okay, this is the weekend. Like every game, it just seems big.
These are the SEC standings right now. By the way, Georgia, they're about to wrap up the SEC. It feels like they're at 18-6. Texas and A&M are in second at 15-8. Georgia just played Missouri 3 times, so that certainly helped them. They still play LSU in Athens. And LSU, obviously not the LSU of old this year. After them, you've got Mississippi State and Auburn. They're both at 14-10. Then you got that 3-way tie between Arkansas, Bama, and Florida at 13-11. You got a tie at 9th between Ole Miss and OU. They're both 12-12. And then after that, you got Tennessee and Kentucky at 11-13. Vanderbilt at 10-14. They may miss the tournament this year. Isn't this amazing that Vanderbilt and LSU both could potentially be on the outside looking in? LSU, they won all 3 of their games this weekend over South Carolina. They're 9-15. Carolina's 7-17. Missouri got swept at Georgia. They are 4-20. You talk about that game Friday night. Graduation is Saturday on campus, and that Friday, it's always kind of it's one of those sneaky games where people, I don't know that they realize that Friday night before graduation is like a hot ticket. But you got a lot of people who come into town. It's like, hey, let's go catch a baseball game.
Yeah.
It's not just a couple of people looking for a ticket. It's, hey, we got a group of 8, we got a group of 5. Grandma and Grandpa are coming in from wherever, and I think it's going to be a really cool atmosphere Friday night. We can talk about that more on Thursday's podcast when we preview OU. But it's got the potential to be a pretty neat series. Not to mention the fact you got a lot of OU fans in this area who it's a chance for them to maybe go see the Sooners in person. It should make for a neat atmosphere this weekend.
Yeah, I've got a couple friends that are OU alum.
Yeah.
So they're wanting tickets.
You're going to give them those seats that you got down in front?
Yeah, actually, I'm going to. Here's the only negative about the weekend, and no one listening to this podcast really cares, but my 14U team's in Oklahoma. It's Oklahoma-Texas Shootout. It's one of our biggest tournaments of the year. There's a ton of teams come in from all over the country. So I'm going to miss that. So, yeah, it's kind of a
bummer.
It's kind of a little bit of a bummer. It's bad timing, but I'll be watching I'll have the Razorback game here, and I'll probably have our game on my phone right here. So I'll be doing both. But it's I hope we have a huge crowd. Looking ahead at the weather looks good for the weekend. So should be a lot of fun.
Hey, a reminder that our baseball podcast is sponsored by H&R Tire and Auto. They're a local shop that's been family-owned for 3 generations. They built their reputation on taking care of customers the right way. That kind of longevity doesn't happen by accident at H&R Tire and Auto. Chris was talking about Arkansas potentially hosting a regional. I still think, Bubba, that is a big, long shot. Even after beating Ole Miss this weekend, Arkansas's RPI is number 30. It just feels like you got to have a higher RPI than that to host.
So we just gained 1.
Yeah, I think so. Maybe 1 or 2 points this weekend.
Huh.
But that's the difference from beating a good team at home and beating a good team on the road. It makes a difference.
Where's Kentucky at? Because they're still pretty high.
That
could help us.
They're number 35, and Arkansas goes there and plays at the end. Kentucky, the thing that they've done this year, I don't think they have been swept. And so it's kept them just right there enough to make a difference. I think that most of the, if not all of the regional projections right now have them as being in a regional, obviously not hosting, but being in a regional where, like, even just one series, if they get swept in one series, that might be the difference in them making the tournament. But I think they've won a game, at least one game every weekend. They haven't won a ton of series, but they've won enough games that they are they're able to still be in the picture, and that could help Arkansas from an RPI standpoint. It's not going to help them like beating Alabama did, and certainly they beat Alabama 3 times, which was huge. But I think that could give them a little bit of a bump at the end. But I just go back to whether it be Ole Miss, OU here in Fayetteville, Kentucky up there, SEC tournament. I just don't really see a path where there's going to be enough wins over or I don't really see a path where from an RPI standpoint it gives them enough of an RPI bump to get into that conversation, even if they get really hot and win out.
Dude, you're killing me.
I am.
You're really bringing me down.
I'm bringing the cold water.
I
this
walked
morning.
in here feeling really great today, and you're just killing me.
I just
with
don't see it.
The negativity.
It's
My
not
glass is half full.
No.
Yours is empty. So what RPI you think it's going to take?
I think to be a host, you probably have to be, I would say, 2021 at minimum.
So we win the next 2 series. We go to SEC tournament. We win.
If you
2
beat the right
games.
teams in Hoover, you might get a little bit of a bump. It seems like that's an awfully big hill to climb.
You're killing.
I
me.
am. I'm
Let's
a
talk
total,
about something else.
I'm a total buzzkill this morning. Hey, did you see? We've talked about Nebraska and Kansas potentially being regional sites where Arkansas could go to. Nebraska got swept by Ohio State this weekend.
Yeah,
that
my
I don't know that
son
it
told me
killed their
that last
regional.
night.
I don't know that it killed their regional hopes, but it put them in danger of not hosting.
So I'd been talking to Dalton, my son, about it, and said that's a possibility. We may go there as a 2 seed, and he made sure to tell me last night that they got swept. I'm like, come on, let's go.
You know, Ohio State had an RPI of 88, and they swept Nebraska. Now, it was in Columbus, so it's not as bad as, like, say, if Nebraska were to have gotten swept at Haymarket. But that's something worth watching right now. KU, I still think they're in pretty good shape. They're 37-11. They've got a number 14 RPI. I think that there's a pretty good chance that they're going to host, which that's a small ballpark, by the way. Have you ever been to that ballpark in Lawrence?
Yeah, I played a showcase event there.
It's small.
Yeah.
Like I'm sitting here wondering. I was talking to somebody the other day who's worked up there before. They're like, that's going to be interesting to see how they handle a regional at that ballpark, because some ballparks are built where they can handle the volume. Baum is built that way. Mississippi State, Ole Miss, LSU, Texas, but some ballparks, man, you get a regional in there and you're having to put up more lights for it to look good on TV, and you're bringing in bleachers, and it's just, I think when KU hosts, that's going to be very interesting to see how that's run up there.
Especially if we're a 2 seed in that.
Oh gosh,
that regional. Think of all the
So
Razorback
close.
fans.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll pack the house.
Yeah, they will. That'll make a tough ticket up there.
Yeah.
I was talking with Joe Healy about this on the podcast Friday about the possibility of Arkansas going up there. He said it might be one of those weekends where the ticket office, like, they ban zip codes from buying tickets. You've seen this. It happened in the NFL there was a game in the NFL where the 49ers played at the Rams, and SoFi looked like a San Francisco home game, because so many 49er fans had bought tickets in there and gone down to LA to watch the game. And so I think the next time that they played, I think they played in the playoffs 2 or 3 weeks later, and they banned zip codes, San Francisco area, Bay Area zip codes, from buying tickets to the game in Los Angeles. Maybe you see teams do that when some of these number 2 seeds come to town.
Yeah, might have to, because it would be that would be a tough ticket.
I wanted to ask you about Kuhio Aloy and how he's hitting the ball. It looks totally different. And when you talk to him, you talked to him after, what was it, game 1 when Arkansas won 12-2, and then we had him in the media room yesterday. Did you notice that does it look like there's just kind of a different look in his eye, like maybe a more confident look that I don't know, something feels different about him, and it's not just the swing.
His body language to me looks different when he
Maybe
gets up
that's
there. He's got a little bit more. Phil mentioned it yesterday. He's got a little bit more wiggle in his bat.
He slows it down right before the pitch,
and he just looks. I mean, his whole posture, body language, everything looks different. Swing looks better. We had talked before about how he was kind of getting outside the ball, going around it, hitting a lot of ground balls to third. But he did something on Friday night's game I've never seen. He hit a ball 115 miles an hour at, what was the launch
15
angle?
degrees.
15-degree launch angle.
and that ball on the grass.
The ball went 413 feet. I've never seen a ball hit at 15 degrees like this. I've got a spot in the back of my cage that that signals 15 degrees, and that's not very. It's not a very high launch angle, and to hit a ball that hard, that goes that low, that goes 413 feet, is incredible. I've never seen it before. It looks like a driver off the bat.
So what was the more impressive swing, that one or 470 feet into T-Boys?
Well, I don't know. The one yesterday was impressive. That was a 98 mile an hour fastball, and that was two power guys matching
That's one of
up.
those deals where the pitch generates some of the power, right?
Yeah. I mean, it was 98, and he got barreled to it, and that was fun to watch. That ball, I swear it. So when I left the ballpark yesterday, I stopped, and actually I take that back. I stopped right there and looked, and I took a right and went to look where that food truck is, and my gosh, that's a long way from home plate. When you see how far it is, because that's right back against the fence by the street. I just feel like it went farther than what they said it went, but who knows?
Maybe one of those golf readers. You know those where, like you read the distance in golf?
Yeah.
Take one of those out there and see if you can like point it at home plate and
I think
get
I'm
the
going
distance.
to
Now, I know
my,
it one hopped into the truck, but still.
I'm going to get on my Google Earth thing, because you can Google Earth it and go from home plate to the front edge of that food truck and tell exactly how many feet that was.
We sent one of our reporters who was at the game. Whenever I saw it land in the food truck, I said, "You need to go talk to them right now." And so he talked to a couple of people who were working inside the food truck. She's like, "I swear it was about to hit me." I mean, can you imagine? You're just sitting there, you're working. Somebody orders it's like some barbecue nachos, and the next thing you know, here comes a ball flying right into the potato salad.
So did it really bounce in?
It bounced in. Yeah, no, it
That's
hit
awesome.
it hit the berm, and then it took a one hop right into the window of the truck. There was actually, I think there was somebody standing there ordering food at the moment that it happened.
Who would think they would get hit that far away with a ball?
That's amazing.
It's crazy. But I think they ought to get the ball signed by Cahillo and put it up in their food truck.
I think they gave the ball away.
Did they?
From what I read or heard, that they gave that ball to somebody. Somebody ran up, said, "Hey, can I have that ball?" They gave it to him.
Huh. I bet it's got a big dent in it.
Yeah, I bet that person they'll identify themselves.
Okay, but
Here pretty soon.
you asked me what was more impressive. I think what was more impressive to me was the 3-2 changeup he hit the right field, that allowed Stewart to come up, draw a walk. T.J. Pompey came up and hit a 3-run homer on Friday night. That to me, that's more impressive. He stayed on that changeup away that Elliott threw him. Really good pitch. Plus
the RBI hit he had yesterday. That was 115 off the bat. Like, who would have thought that he hits 115? It's like, oh, that was the second best hit that you have today.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, I thought he had some really good two-strike swings where he just, was, one was a changeup away. One was a breaking ball off the plate. He stayed on it, hit it to the left side for a base hit with 2 strikes, 2 outs. I mean, those are the swings. Now, we love the home runs at 115. There's no doubt. But, man, those are good. Those get you RBIs, but those 2-out RBI swings or just keeping the inning going. Because you think about it, if he doesn't hit that with 2 outs to right field, Stewart doesn't walk, Pompey doesn't hit the home run, and that game might shake out different because we never really gave Elliott a chance to get in a groove. And I think we came back the next inning, scored 2 more. I mean, I just felt like that was a big point in the game.
Both of our podcast listeners are very devoted, and one of them asked me to ask you a question today. They said the decision to bunt Damian Ruiz in the 7th and leave first base open when they knew that Helfrich was going to go to first. They wanted to know what your perspective was on that.
Yeah, it's the right move. I mean, you've got to bunt him over there. You know Helfrich's going to get walked, but you got to trust Kozel's a stud. The guy just made some good pitches to Kozel.
Kozel just got out in front of one. Otherwise, that's a fly ball to right field, and that scores the run.
Well, that's a bomb.
It could have been, yeah.
Yeah,
no,
he
you're
was
right.
he got his pitch. He was just a little bit early on it, hit it foul. If he waits, and you think about like frame. If he waits 1 frame of a swing of a camera, so it's 1 frame, that's a home run over the foul pole. That's how tight the distance is. But it's the right move. I mean, you got to bunt them right there, even though they're going to walk Helfrich. I think you bunt there, and I'm not a big fan of bunting. I'm really not. Like you look at the bunt attempt of of Christian Turner yesterday. You know, you're bunting a runner from first to second. That's a low percentage play. I never second guess DVH. I just know statistically, bunting a runner from first to second's a low percentage. Especially when you got righties coming up behind him, and Hooks' changeup is so good. I would rather have a lefty facing Hooks than a righty. I don't even know the splits either. I think lefties do hit a little bit better against him.
Nobody's hit him very well this year.
No.
That guy is one of the best relief pitchers in the conference.
Yeah.
And again, that's why it was such a big deal to get him in the game on Saturday. I mean, it's like it's weird to say. It almost feels like they won the game Sunday because of the way they lost the game Saturday. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah. Wait, did you say one of our 2 listeners?
I did. You just caught that? I said both of our listeners.
Both of our
Yeah,
listeners.
both of our listeners. that took a
Let's
while.
go. Listen.
That took a while. Hey, real quick. So I think that the starting pitching gave Arkansas, was it 15 and a third, 16 and a third innings this weekend? So not a great number, but that number seems to keep getting a little bit better every week. Dietz didn't go maybe as long as I think they thought he would. Ole Miss battled him pretty good, a couple of innings. Talk about Gibbler and his start, but he did give him some length. Gackle gave him 4. And I thought it was interesting yesterday to hear Dave Van Horn say that Gackle is going to be in the rotation when they play OU. They want him back in the rotation. And yesterday I almost felt like an audition. Show us that you can start again. And if it wasn't for the 3-run home run, that wind-aided home run, that's a really good start for him. And I didn't think it was a bad start even at that.
Yeah, I thought it was a good start. And then even Cole Gibbler, like we already talked about, I thought that was a good start. But if you go back to Hunter Dietz, think about the 0-2. So he threw Utermark 2 really good changeups. It's 0-2. He tries to sneak a fastball by him, and he hits it to right field over the fence. Hit it hard. It was up in the wind, but he hit it hard. And I want to say, I think he threw 18 pitches after that to get the third out.
The next 2 guys walked.
So if he gets Utermark out there,
that's another inning.
That's 80. He's at 80 pitches, maybe 81 pitches. He goes another inning. So instead of going 6 innings, he goes 7. And so I thought that was a huge moment in the game. And you know what I think about the 0-2? He was trying to sneak it by him. He was probably trying to elevate it, but he just left it over the plate. Utermark's a good hitter. But, yeah, you think about it, that could have been totally different. He could have gone another full inning. It might have been 15. I had 18 pitches, but I might be wrong.
It was a significant number of pitches.
Yeah.
But, the way things worked out, and we'll see how this works, they're going to need more than the 3 starters and top 4 relievers if they're going to make a run this year, whether that be a run in Hoover, a run in a regional, something after. They got Cooper Dawson in the game. He got to see, some good hitters there in the 7th inning. I don't know if Jackson Kershaw, how he fits into their plans, but he got to, pitch a little bit. I think the way this worked out, it kind of worked out well for Arkansas from a lot of different angles. The fact that, some guys were able to get some work, and then obviously, it didn't hurt them in the long run. They still won the series.
Yeah, no, I thought it was good to get them in there. I think Dietz, if you look at Dietz, I say a lot, you can tell how good a guy's stuff is. Like we have all the analytics, but just if you use your eyes and you look at the swings at the other team, your swings will tell you how good a guy's stuff is, but so will your takes. And I think he had 8 strikeouts looking.
Most ever for a Van Horn pitcher.
That if you get 8 strikeouts looking, your stuff's really good. That means you're fooling the hitters bad. And I thought that was really impressive. And that was kind of telling of how good. Now, Ole Miss is a high strikeout team, but I don't care. You strike out 8 dudes looking, your stuff's really good.
That stat, by the way, came from Stu Hogg, Corey Stewart, who runs the Stu Hogg YouTube account. He said that Nick Schmidt had 7 strikeouts looking twice, 6 against Tennessee and Florida. And then Gage had 7 strikeouts looking during the no-hitter last year against Murray State. So Hunter Dietz, you're getting mentioned with Gage Wood and Nick Schmidt. That's pretty good company.
Pretty good company. And he just keeps getting better.
Yeah.
And I said Cole Gibbler keeps getting better, but Dietz keeps getting better. Gibbler keeps getting better. And then you got Gackle. Now, I got a question for you about Gackle. What if it's a tight game on Friday night? Dietz comes out of the game in the 7th inning. Do you bring Gackle in? or do you go Coyle and McIlvain?
I guess it depends on if they announce him, because I think if you announce him, it gives you. I don't know how that works.
I don't.
I think it gives you a little bit more leverage if you don't announce them before the series. You know that you can make some decisions in game 1 or game 2.
Yeah.
I don't know how that works whenever you announce them. Like, I don't know if you can, like, once you announce somebody, can you only scratch them if they get hurt, or can you just say the heck with it? We got to pitch him right now. I don't know the answer to that.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. You would think you'd just be able to scratch him and say, "Hey, well, we changed our mind. He's not going to start," because things change in the game of baseball. Dude could get hurt on Saturday, and you might need this guy to jump in and pitch on Saturday.
It'll be interesting to see how that works.
Yeah. But, I mean, that's just something to think about.
Yeah.
But, yeah, we'll see. I just think I know how Dave is, and he takes it one game at a time. I know it's a cliche for most people, but for Dave, it's life. I mean, he takes it he's going to do what it takes to win Friday night, and then we'll roll into Saturday.
It's like that old Augie Garrido, inning by inning. I mean, it's like, don't ever think more than just that moment that you're in.
Yeah.
And it seems to work out well for those coaches who have that kind of mindset.
And I talk about winning pitches all the time. It's one pitch at a time. You want to win that pitch. And back to Christian Turner, or even Souza, that's a perfect example of hitters going up there and just winning a pitch, trying to fight it off, win a pitch. If you can win enough pitches, that pitcher's going to make a mistake. And we saw that yesterday. It was awesome.
That was a fun weekend at the ballpark. Just so many layers to that onion we can peel back, and I feel like we've kind of just sort of scratched the surface in this hour. I want to tell you one more time, our baseball podcast brought to you by H&R Tire and Auto. They're proudly family-owned since 1976. They're trusted across Northwest Arkansas, committed to keeping you safe on the road all season long. You can learn more or schedule service at hrtireandauto.com. You can read all of our coverage at wholehogsports.com. We'll have plenty of baseball coverage this week at our website. Also softball coverage. They're in the SEC tournament this week. Ethan Westerman will be covering them. Congratulations to the softball team, by the way. Did you see this? They beat Texas in Austin.
Yeah,
1-2 of 3 over the reigning national champion. Big series win for Courtney Deifel and her program with the NCAA tournament coming up next week. Again, wholehogsports.com. Hope you'll subscribe to our podcast, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube. Just subscribe to one of our Facebook, our Twitter, one of our social media channels. You'll see it there.